Today on No BS AI briefing, China's open source frontier models could just rewrite your entire AI product's cost structure overnight. That is, if geopolitics doesn't throw a wrench in your plans first. We're also unpacking Google's ambitious move into custom AI chips targeting massive efficiency gains and looking at how embedding AI directly into everyday tools like Excel is changing how work gets done. What do these shifts mean for you, whether you're leading a team, shipping a SaaS product, or just exploring a new AI side project? We'll dive into what actually matters for builders right now. No BS AI briefing brought to you by Proactive AI. Welcome back. I'm your host Vikash Sharma, and this is where builders get straightforward AI news without the fluff. All right, let's dive into the biggest stories hitting the AI world right now. First up, we've got some massive news coming out of China with Moonshot AI releasing Kimi K3, a 2.8 trillion parameter model, and Alibaba dropping Qwen3.8, a 2.4 trillion parameter model, both as open source. This isn't just a promise, they've committed to releasing the full model weights. In plain English, these aren't small experimental models. They're positioned as direct rivals to some of the leading frontier systems we've seen on the benchmarks. It feels like a coordinated strategic move to broaden access to high-end AI capabilities across the board. Now, for builders, this is huge. Imagine getting access to models that compete with the best, but without the typical licensing fees or per token API costs. That could absolutely reset your unit economics, changing how you price products or even what you can afford to build. It's also going to put a lot of pressure on proprietary vendors, forcing them to innovate faster or compete on price. Plus, it introduces some significant new ecosystem choices, though we do need to factor in the geopolitical considerations here, which we'll talk about in our deep dive. Next, let's talk infrastructure because Google's reportedly developing something they're calling Frozen V2, a custom AI chip designed specifically for their Gemini models. This isn't just about iterating on their existing TPUs, they're building a specialized server chip, embedding the actual model architecture right into the silicon. Their target? A staggering 6 to 10 times more tokens per watt compared to current TPUs, with deployment aimed for 2028. Now, for builders, this development is a clear signal of an accelerating infrastructure arms race. When the underlying hardware is that much more efficient, it translates directly into potential inference cost reductions for you. If Google can deliver on this efficiency, it could make some previously cost prohibitive AI applications suddenly viable on their cloud. But it also raises a red flag. If hardware becomes too tightly coupled to specific model stacks, we could see increased vendor lock-in risks. Are you going to be able to easily port your finely tuned models off Google Cloud if their custom silicon offers such a dominant advantage? That's a strategic question worth pondering, don't you think? Also on our radar, we're seeing a significant partnership in the enterprise AI space. Anthropic has teamed up with Baker Tilly, a major accounting and advisory firm, along with Ode for a new initiative. What they're doing is building governed AI systems, embedding Baker Tilly's proprietary methodologies directly into the models for specific domains like tax, advisory, and assurance. This isn't just about generic chatbot integration, it's about creating deeply specialized, secure AI that understands the nuances of a complex industry. Why this matters for builders is it powerfully validates the enterprise demand for domain-tuned systems. It shows that the real moats in AI aren't just about the base models, but about the proprietary knowledge and workflows you can embed into them. This points to sizable, tangible opportunities for startups and product leaders looking to build in professional services. Think legal, finance, healthcare. It's a move beyond general purpose AI right into highly specific, high value problem solving. And that's often where the big dollars are for focused application builders. Now, for something a bit more everyday but equally strategic, XI, Elon Musk's AI company, has launched Grok for Excel. Yes, you heard that right. It's a Microsoft Excel add-in that brings Grok's capabilities directly into your spreadsheet workflows. This means users can now leverage natural language to analyze data, generate complex formulas, and even create visualizations right there in Excel without having to switch context or learn new tools. For builders, this is a clear, powerful signal. Embedding AI into high adoption existing tools is an incredibly strong distribution and monetization path. Instead of trying to pull users into yet another standalone AI app, you're meeting them precisely where they already do their work, reducing friction and increasing stickiness. If you're building a product, think about the core applications your target users spend most of their time in and how you can integrate your AI capabilities directly there. It's about being a feature, not necessarily a whole new product, at least initially, and that's often a smarter way to gain traction in a crowded market. Finally, circling back to the open source news, and this is the flip side of that coin. Axios is reporting that the US government is weighing significant restrictions on Chinese AI models. This isn't just talk. The administration is considering measures like placing these companies on the entity list, implementing procurement limits for federal agencies, and even applying public pressure to curb the use of models like Kimi K3, the same one we just talked about. For builders, this immediately introduces substantial regulatory and supply chain risk. If you're building on these newly open source Chinese models today, their availability and usability for you tomorrow is absolutely not guaranteed. This increases your compliance complexity, forces you to consider geopolitical factors in your tech stack, and could even lead to needing dual track development or requiring alternative solutions just in case access gets restricted. It's a stark reminder that in the world of AI, policy is increasingly becoming a product risk and you can't afford to ignore it. Now, let's take a deeper look at what I think is the most impactful story this week: the open source AI reckoning, particularly with China's latest move challenging US dominance. What happened? We just heard that Moonshot AI's Kimi K3 and Alibaba's Qwen3.8 are coming out as fully open source, complete with their full model weights. These aren't minor players, these are models with 2.8 and 2.4 trillion parameters, respectively, both positioned as frontier systems. This move is significant because, until now, truly top tier open source models at this scale with reliable performance have been pretty scarce, especially from Chinese developers making firm commitments to open weights. It signals a major push to democratize access to high-end AI capabilities that have largely been the domain of proprietary US APIs for the past year and a half. Why it matters right now? This immediately matters because it shifts the fundamental economics of building with AI. Imagine you're a startup that's been paying significant API costs to OpenAI or Anthropic. If Kimi K3 or Qwen3.8 can deliver comparable performance for your specific use case, but without those recurring fees, your unit economics completely transform. You can suddenly afford to do more inference, experiment more broadly, and potentially offer your product at a more competitive price point. This isn't just a slight cost saving, it's a potential re-evaluation of your entire business model, especially if you're building an application that relies heavily on large language model inference. It injects a new level of competition and choice into the market that many builders have been craving. What does that do to your roadmap? Who should care? Founders and product managers. You absolutely need to care because this directly impacts your strategic choices. Can you build a better product at a lower cost, or even enable new features that were previously too expensive? It's about competitive advantage and market positioning and potentially stealing market share from bigger players. Engineers. You'll be the ones diving into these models, benchmarking them, and integrating them. Understanding their performance, quirks, and potential for fine tuning will be crucial. This is a chance to move beyond generic API calls and truly own your AI stack, which is pretty exciting for a technical builder. Indie hackers. This is perhaps the biggest win for you. With lower barriers to entry and access to powerful models, your ability to rapidly prototype and launch innovative AI products on a shoestring budget just got a significant boost. Think about what you could launch now. that was previously impossible without a massive funding round. How I'd think about it as a builder. As a builder, I'd view this as a potential market reset. Think of it like the early days of cloud computing, where suddenly you didn't need to buy your own servers, you could rent them. Now, it's like suddenly having access to highly capable servers for your AI models without the rental fee for the model itself, just the compute. My immediate thought is, what if the cost of my frontier model inference drops by 90% or even disappears for many tasks? This isn't just about saving money, it's about unlocking new product possibilities. It means you can be more aggressive with features that require heavy AI usage or even pivot to entirely new product ideas that were previously uneconomical. But it also introduces a layer of complexity. You'll need to develop expertise in managing and hosting these models yourself or rely on specialized infra providers. And then there's the geopolitical elephant in the room, a massive shadow over this incredible technical achievement. My no BS take, look, this is not just marketing noise. If these models deliver on their benchmark claims and full open weights are truly available, this is a genuine game changer for the application layer. The hype is certainly around their frontier performance, and we do need to test that in real world workflows. But the underlying reality is a fundamental shift in access and cost. The big caveat, and it's a massive one, is the US government's stated intent to weigh restrictions. This isn't speculative. Axios reported the administration is actively considering entity list designations and procurement limits. So, while the technology is exciting, you absolutely can't ignore the regulatory and supply chain risk. It means building on these models comes with a significant strategic overlay. Great today, potentially problematic tomorrow. My advice, experiment, but don't go all in without a robust contingency plan. It's a complex landscape out there. If you want one practical takeaway from today's episode, something you can actually act on this week, here it is. Experiment, benchmark Kimi K3 and Qwen3.8 against your existing AI stack. Here's how to try it in under 60 minutes. First, identify your top 3 most critical AI workflows. These should be tasks where your current models are either expensive, too slow, or not quite delivering the quality you need. Maybe it's content generation for a specific product feature, customer support, summarization, or even internal data analysis that you're doing right now. Next, once Kimi K3 and Qwen3.8's full weights are available, and keep an eye on that release, spin them up on a cloud instance or even locally if you have the compute. Then run those exact same 3 workflows end to end through these new Chinese open source models. Don't just look at benchmark scores, actually compare their latency, the quality of their outputs, and the raw cost of running them compared to your current API or hosted solution. You need real world data here. Finally, document your pass fail criteria very clearly. What does good enough look like for each workflow? Based on these results, you can start to decide where these open models could realistically slot into your product. Could they replace an expensive proprietary API for certain tasks and free up budget? Could they enable a new feature because the cost barrier is now gone entirely? Why this specific experiment is worth your time right now? This isn't about switching immediately. This experiment is crucial because the availability of truly performant open source models, especially at this scale, has the potential to fundamentally alter your cost structure and product roadmap. Even if you don't switch, understanding their capabilities gives you leverage with your current vendors. It helps you prepare for a future where high-end AI capabilities are increasingly commoditized and accessible. And given the potential regulatory uncertainties we discussed, understanding their performance now helps you assess both the opportunity and the risk. It's about being proactive, not reactive, to a shifting landscape. Don't just read about it, feel the impact yourself. Go on, give it a try. That's it for today's No BS AI briefing. If this helped, follow the show in your podcast app and share it with one builder you know. And if you've got questions or topics you want covered, connect with me on LinkedIn and send them over. See you in the next briefing.